Maplewood City, in Yang Kai's cave house. Yang Kai and Mo Zioki sat across the table. After leaving the black market, Yang Kai hurried back here with Mo Zioki. He deliberately checked whether anyone was following him along the way, and at the same time made a detour. After confirming the safety, he returned to the cave house. Big brother Yang, you are so amazing, Kia. Mo Zioki held her cheeks in both hands, with a nymphomaniac expression on her face, and looked at Yang Kai with her beautiful eyes, not stingy about her worship and admiration. That nasty group of guys was scared away. How did you do it? Yang Kai chuckled dryly. When someone else asked him this way, Yang Kai would definitely think that the other party was playing with him, but this was from Mo Zioki's mouth, and that was a real praise. They think too much by themselves. Yang Kai casually said. Today's matter is indeed the people of Flying Saint Palace who think too much, and it is also caused by the situation in Maplewood City today. If it weren't for the mixture of dragons and snakes in Maplewood City today, Yang Kai wouldn't be able to have today's end with his remarks. But now in Maplewood City, there are a lot of people from all the major forces. Although Flying Saint Palace is good, it is not the top one. Of course, Lu Yi will be scrupulous. Don't mention this, but Zioki, why are you here? Yang Kai changed the subject. I've been here all the time. Mo Zioki looked at Yang Kai inexplicably, wondering why he asked. By the way, the cave house I rented is very close to your place, brother Yang. But why haven't I seen you before? I haven't lived here before, and I haven't returned until today. Oh. Actually, I want to ask, Zioki, how did you escape in Jade Clear Mountain last time? Yang Kai looked at Mo Zioki suspiciously. After all, when he came out of the mysterious boundary bead, he deliberately searched for Mo Zioki. There was no clue at all. He thought that Mo Zioki must be dead, and there was no burning residue left. But he don't expect to see her again in this Maplewood City today. That day, I used this thing to escape. As Mo Zioki said this, she took out something from her space ring and placed it in front of Yang Kai. This is... Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and stared at the table. An animal skin exuding strange energy fluctuations. That energy fluctuation made Yang Kai feel very familiar. Surprisingly, it is the fluctuation of space force. And the animal skin is about the size of 2 palms, and there are many mysterious lines and runes painted on the animal skin, forming a magical pattern. Yang Kai stretched out his hand to touch it, perceiving it carefully. For a while, he was shocked. This thing has the effect of space transfer? Mo Zioki looked at Yang Kai with a smile upon hearing the words, Big brother Yang has indeed cultivated space force. Even this can be perceived. Do you know that I have cultivated space force? Yang Kai looked at her in surprise. Yes, didn't you use space force when you worked with people in Jade Clear Mountain? I found out at that time. Because when you use that power, the feeling is a bit similar to when Uncle Li did it. Uncle Li? It's Uncle Li Wei. He has also cultivated space force, which is very powerful. This thing was made by him and can be used to save my life. Mo Zioki had no intention of guarding against Yang Kai. Don't know if it is easier to change mountains and rivers than to alter one's character, or because Yang Kai has not had any negative thoughts against her. While talking, she explained, Uncle Li said that this thing can open a void tunnel at a critical moment, so it is the most suitable way to escape. I originally had 2, and I used one in Jade Clear Mountain last time. Only this one is left. When Mo Zioki spoke, she expressed reluctance. Can directly open the void tunnel with a formation carried by an animal skin? Yang Kai was shocked on the spot. Although his research and accomplishment on Space Force are extremely extraordinary, he is absolutely unable to make such a thing with his current ability. He can only teleport with his own Space Force, and he is also vulnerable to interference. Once the surrounding world's spiritual energy is unstable, his teleportation will not be able to exert much effect. This is related to his strength, his accomplishments in Space Force, and the laws of heaven and earth in the star boundary. The laws of heaven and earth in the star boundary are countless times richer than the home star territory, so Yang Kai's teleportation has been greatly suppressed in the star boundary. And that Li Wei could actually make a treasure like the animal skin in front of him. Obviously, it is difficult for Yang Kai to compare with him in Space Force accomplishments. Big brother Yang, I'm sorry. Mo Zioki suddenly apologized with a look of guilt. Why do you suddenly say this? Yang Kai looked up at her. The last time I was in danger, I wanted to take you with me, but Vermilion Bird Phoenix attack came too fast, and I could only. Later I wanted to go out to find you again, but I couldn't. I thought you must be dead. Upon hearing this, Yang Kai laughed. At this point, he and Mo Zioki had the same thoughts, thinking that the other party must have died under the black flame, but didn't expect each to have a means of escape. Then Big Brother Yang, how did you escape? Mo Zioki asked. I'm proficient in Space Force. Yang Kai didn't say the truth. Oh right, Uncle Lee said that people who are proficient in Space Force have first-class ability to escape. Mo Zioki suddenly realized. Seeing her convinced look, Yang Kai felt a sense of guilt inexplicably. Next, the two chatted casually. However, under Yang Kai deliberately or unintentionally, he also found out that Li Wei's cultivation realm was truly a powerful emperor senior stage. He didn't inquire about Mo Zioki's background. Sometimes, the less he knew, the better it was. Mo Zioki's origin is obviously extraordinary, and Yang Kai knows it well. Big Brother Yang, if you are fine, follow me to find the treasure, how about it? Mo Zioki suddenly suggested enthusiastically. Treasure? Yes, yes. Mo Zioki nodded repeatedly, and while talking, took out a piece of animal skin paper from the space ring. I bought a treasure map today, and the person told me that it was the treasure left by the Heavens Devourer Great Emperor. Maybe there is also the cultivation technique Heavens Devour Battle Law there. This stuff, why is it so familiar? Yang Kai looked suspicious, picked up the animal skin paper and observed it carefully. The next moment, his face was black. How many source crystal you used to buy these thing? Yang Kai looked up at Mo Zioki. 7,000. Mo Zioki looked proud. Not expensive, right? If I can really find Heaven's Devourer Battle Law, then it will be a huge benefit. That abominable scammer. Yang Kai couldn't help but cursed in a deep voice. Big Brother Yang, what are you talking about? It's nothing. Yang Kai coughed slightly, pondered, and said earnestly, Zioki, when you go out, people are sinister. Not everyone is as meek and kind as you. You have to be careful about everything. I know, Aunt Feng often told me that before. In the star boundary, there are so many people who deceive and betray others, so you can't believe them all. I know that too. Ha, this treasure map is fake. Yang Kai sighed softly, and had to clarify the words, expecting this little girl to realize it by herself. It was really difficult for her. How come? The man vowed that there is definitely a treasure of the Heavens Devourer Great Emperor, one of the top 10 Great Emperor long ago? Mo Zioki looked at Yang Kai with an incredulous expression, and said, could it be that the Great Emperor also deceived people? I don't know if the Great Emperor lied, but the person who sold this thing must have lied to you. Mo Zioki was stunned. After thinking about it for a while, she vaguely understood, and said softly, damn liar, dare to fool me, I'll go find him. Forget it, that person must be gone, where are you looking him for? Yang Kai hurriedly stopped. Mo Zioki pouted her mouth suddenly, stomping her feet while waving her small fists and said, I'm so mad, don't let me see him again, or see how I make him look good. After speaking ruthless words, her mood seemed to be much calmer. After thinking about it, she took out 7 or 8 treasure maps from her space ring and said, then Brother Yang, look at these things, are they true or fake? Yang Kai take a look, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. What about this one? Mo Zioki took out another thing, a black and useless stone that can only be used for viewing the night sky. Haha. Yang Kai laughed dryly. What about this peerless cultivation technique? Mo Zioki threw something out again. Yang Kai swept his eyes, and his body was shocked. What peerless cultivation technique? The pages of the book are yellowed, it looks like it was old. On the page there are 3 words, peerless cultivation technique. As if fearing that others would not know that this is a peerless cultivation technique. But how innocent is she to be fooled into buying so many useless things after visiting the black market? If everyone in the world is like Mo Zioki, wouldn't those swindlers have already made a fortune? Yang Kai's silence made Mo Zioki extremely depressed. She buried her head on her chest, and the whole person seemed to be shrouded in an invisible shadow. Seeing her look like she had been hit hard, Yang Kai sighed slightly, and was about to comfort her, let her eat a bite and grow her wisdom. When her eyes opened, Mozoyoki suddenly raised her head again, chuckled, and said, "This thing is definitely not fake." While talking, she carefully took out an oval stone, showing a pale blue stone, and placed it on the table. Seeing her confident appearance, Yang Kai couldn't help but also got interested, letting out his spiritual mind to perceive the thing, only to find that the thing had no spiritual energy fluctuations, and it looked like a real stone. But what is weird is that this thing that looks like a stone has an inexplicable force on the surface to block the intrusion of his own spiritual mind. What is this? Yang Kai frowned and asked. Mozoyoki smiled mysteriously, beast egg. To be continued.